Hi there, welcome to another episode on the FOBB's podcast. Today I'll be talking on something quite interesting. You know how they say your network is your net worth. Your network is your net worth. Basically, I'll be talking on the subject of network or networking, or how networks play a huge role in our journey of purpose. Right. So one of the biggest blessings, to be desired or coveted and cherished is the gift or blessing of men, right? Anyone you've seen who is successful and great at something they do or in life has enjoyed the gift of men, one way or the other. The reality is nobody is self-made, right? It's either people helped you or they didn't help you, right? And if you've not enjoyed the help of people one way or the other, you definitely wouldn't have grown to the level that you are right now. And so a network of supportive people plays a huge role in the fulfillment of our purpose and our journey of destiny. And so we must always cherish the gift of men. In the Bible, Moses enjoyed the gift of men who shared the same vision like he did. Talk about persons like Joshua, talk about persons like Caleb, who had the same mindset that he had. Look at when they were fighting, the enemies, and Moses had to raise his hand. And in the time that Moses raised his hand, they were conquering the enemies. But the time his hands dropped, the enemy started to conquer them. Right. So until there were two other people who had to hold up the hand of Moses to ensure that they keep winning. And you see that kind of support, right? So men, you definitely can't do anything without the support of people, without the support of men. However minute or however great, you definitely need people around you, to do great things. Now, the what then sets people apart in greatness is how well that they are able to harness this gift of men, and this is where the subject or the topic of network or networks come in, or networking comes in. Right. So you find that in business there's such a thing as networking, to attract the kind of clientele that you want, to generate the kind of leads that you want, to meet the kind of customers that you actually need. There is that aspect of networking. So networking is a great phenomenon across different scopes, different fields, for anyone or anything or any business or any organization that wants to succeed. There's this saying in the Yoruba language. I'm a Yoruba boy, and I like to make reference sometime to some of these things. They say "Eniyan lasho mi," which simply means I'm clothed with honor because of the people that surround me. And basically, this is speaking, to the value of having the right network of people around you, right? So it is true that your network is your net worth, right? So the better the quality of people that you have in your network, the more wealthy you are, right? This necessarily isn't just talking about money or financial prosperity, as it were. There are things that money necessarily might not be able to get you, but the right network of people will get you. There are places you might want to go that money will not be able to get you in there, but the right network of people will get you there. I'm sure we'll get to talk about some of these things, in more detail as we go on. So the right network of people, sometimes gives you things that money can't buy. I just said that. Just checking through my note now. See, things that money can't buy, the right network of people will give it to you. Just like in an instant, right? It will grant you access in the places and rooms where riches actually have limitations. See, the reality is that it doesn't matter how much money you have, right? Even though money, or let me say wealth or riches, in some way helps to foster some level of connection, or build some level of network, right? But there are times that money itself has limitation, and it is just the quality of the heart of people that you have in your network that will matter, right? So it the quality of network you have also will grant you access to people that really matter. I've heard testimonies of people who have probably been chasing some kind of contract for a while, and just by talking to the right person at the right time, they find themselves in the boardroom discussing their proposal and landing the contract. They just find themselves talking to people that matter, who then mention their case in places that matter, and that is how they were able to scale through. I remember a story that was told by a man of God a while back, about a lawyer who was frustrated about how things were going, with his firm. He was not making progress. Things were down. He was so down financially. He really couldn't even, keep up with family bills and all of that. And there were things he's been wanting to do, and he just thought to himself, the only person that could help him at that particular point in time was a particular senior advocate, of Nigeria, who can really, the person has a lot of influence, and he thought if he just approaches this person, probably to seek assistance, probably leverage on his network to get some, work and all of that, or probably to be employed by him or something. And when he got there, this man was hosting probably a gala or a banquet or something. And, eventually he had the opportunity to speak with this great man. And having heard him, the man just asked him, walk with me. And then, put his hand on his shoulder. I was just asking him random questions. How's your wife? How are your kids? How are things going? He was frustrated because he didn't understand what was going on. Right. And after a while, after they had got into the end of the balcony, the man said to him, if after today you still remain poor, don't come back to me. And he was frustrated. He really didn't understand what was going on. He just left, and he was frustrated, downcast, wondering at that, how could that be the end of all he came to see this man for. The expectation he had of the man was way different from what he eventually met. But what happened after that incident was the power of the influence the man has, and the way the man interacted with him, changed the dynamics and scope of his story. And then things turned around for him. As he was leaving, somebody saw him, who had seen when the older lawyer and more established lawyer was talking to him, holding hands to him, putting his hand on his shoulder, and were just gisting and discussing, and just approached him. Excuse me, sir, how are you? Blah, 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 and all of that. There's been this case we've been trying to resolve for a while now, and we've been wondering, we tried to reach barrister so and so, but we've not been able to get him. He's a very busy man and has a lot of clients and all of that. But seeing how that you work with him, we are thinking if you could help take on this case. And we just know that your connection with him basically will help us win this case and all of that. And that was the beginning of the turnaround for him. Why? Because he networked with somebody who had even a greater network and had this influence. So influence of your right network, or the right network of people around you, can really get you into places that you never imagined. Can get people to respond to you in the most unimaginable way, right? So it's important, right? The right network positions you for honor and favor. It's just like what I just explained, right? This man went on to execute that deal and handle the case, and because the case was, I think, for a multinational company, and boom, things just turned around for him. Somebody who was not able to pay school fees of his kids, went on to start to pay other people, to work for him, and all of that. He was settled, established, bought a new car, moved into a new house, and all of that. Things just turned around for him, right? So the right network of people, positions you for honor and favor. I've come to realize also that you're not the only one who's going to benefit from the network that you foster, build, and maintain. Your children, your children's children, the generations that are coming after as well will leverage on this same network. I haven't heard of stories, people, would go to certain places, probably in search of work, in search of jobs, and at the mention of their names, just be like, "Oh, so you are the daughter of Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith and my father used to be co-workers and colleagues, or they were in the war together, and my father told me how that your dad saved his life during the war." You just hear stories, different stories, all of that, and how friendships that were built years ago are serving good purposes on behalf of the children in present time, right? We hear different stories, and the same way, the people who didn't manage connections and networks properly, have in some way jeopardized the future of their children because of the things they did back in their own prime, and resulting in them not managing the networks that got brought across them in the right way, not managing the people that got brought across them in the right way. So you're not the only one who's going to enjoy from the benefits or dividends of creating or fostering and building and maintaining and protecting the right network of people around you right now. It is a generational investment. So building a very solid network of very valuable friends is a huge investment into your future, into the future of your children. You see people in certain spaces now, you see all of these so-called big people, business moguls, and there's a way their children just connect, and they go on to even build bigger and greater stuffs in the future. I mean, those who are really serious and who have been brought up in the proper way, you see them doing stuff together. Why? Because of the network of people. In fact, you find them marrying each other and all of that. It's because of the network that their parents have built together while in their own prime, right? So it's important to build and foster a solid network of valuable friends and valuable people around you. Bring the right people into your network, right? And everybody cannot be in your network. That's just a reality. And there are levels to people in your network. There are people who are just going to be acquaintances. There are people who are going to be close friends. There are people who are going to be like best friends or covenant friends. You have to know who is coming into your space, so that you don't disrupt things that you've been building just by admitting the wrong person or the wrong set of people into your network. So you have to pay attention to the kind of people you allow into your network. There are people who are just disruptors, right? It's their nature. They just come to disrupt things, right? So you have to pay attention to that. All right. So the journey of your purpose becomes easier when you have a structure of the right network of support around you, right? Even Jesus had to choose the disciples. He had to choose 12 people, right? And that was part of the things that made his mission here on earth, easier for him. He couldn't, because he was in flesh at the time, he couldn't really be in every place, at every time. So he had disciples who he could send, into different places. He had people who could minister unto him, who could attend unto him. He had people he could sit with and share with, and all of that, right? And these people were from different backgrounds as well. And they also brought their, different expertise into the ministry of Jesus, right? Look at when they wanted to pay taxes, right? They had an accountant, and they had people who are fishermen. Jesus instructed them, you go to the river, catch the fish, whatever the first fish you catch, check them out, you bring out whatever you find in there, pay for my tax and yours, and all of that, right? So different people from different backgrounds, having different expertise, having different trainings, orientation, and all of that coming together, make the ministry of Jesus what it was back then, right? So check through histories. Any great person I've seen do great things, it's as a result of the kind of people they had around them. If I want to say Jeff Bezos, the founder of Apple, Steve Jobs, right? If he didn't have Cook around him, right, he might not have been able to do as much. He must not have been able to do as much as he was able to do if he didn't have Tim Cook, around him, right? If Larry Page and Sergey Brin didn't come together, they might not have been able to do as much as they've done with Google right now. Look at, even the people who seem to be like loners and all of that right now, if you check through and they tell you the truth, they'll tell you that it is the corporate strength of the team that they built with other people that actually got them to where they are. Talk about the Mark Zuckerbergs of this world, the Bill Gates of this world, Elon Musk of this world, and the political established and renowned political leaders of this world who have gone on to do great things. Business people, career people have gone on to do great stuff. It's as a result of the network of people they built around themselves that has helped them to emerge victorious, prosperous, and successful in the things that they did or on the things that they are doing. Check the celebrities, in music, in movies, in other forms of media, right? They would also let you know that it is the network of people they built around themselves that has helped them to succeed, as far as they've, come, right? So, it is a no-brainer that the right network, a positive network or structure of the right network is a catalyst for greatness. So when you have the right people around you, supporting you, cheering you on, you definitely would, be pumped to want to succeed. Why? Because you have people counting on you that you must not let down, right? So networks, the positive network, the right kinds of networks are catalysts for greatness. Now, how do we make the most of networks that we build, or how do you make the most of a network of the right people, the network of the right support system, network of the right friends, the network of the right association, right? It must not be parasitic, right? You can't be a parasite in the relationship, right? It must be symbiotic. If you listen to the last episode, it talks about how that you must be a person of value. So while you're in a network of people who are contributing to your success, you must also be contributing in your own way to their successes as well, right? You must not be the only one who is drawing from the corporate commonwealth of that network. You must also be contributing your quota to the success, to the growth, to the development and prosperity of that network as well. That is how it works. So it must not be parasitic. Rather, it must be symbiotic, right? It must be symbiotic, right? You can't just be the one who is stocking up nutrients, from everybody and, hampering the lives of others and just exploiting others and just taking from others. You must also be giving back. You must also be giving back to that community of people who are always rallying around you, supporting you, cheering you on, at your beck and call, trying to see that you get to that place called there that God has proposed for you, right? So you must be a person of value within the network of people that, you've built or that has been built around you or that God has placed you in. So it can't be parasitic. It has to be symbiotic, right? You have to also give back. You have to contribute, right? You have to show empathy as much as people show empathy towards you. You have to show support for people as much as they show support for you. You have to, cherish people, value their time as much as they value your time. You have to be willing to go all out, go the extra mile for people as much as they're willing to go the extra mile for you and be there for you. And that is how it works. So it is not a one-way thing, right? It is, two-way. You give and you receive. You give and you receive. And reality is, just like we said in the last episode, you will definitely reap whatever you sow. Definitely reap whatever you sow. So it's basically a give and take relationship. You have to also be a giver in the relationship, not just the receiver. And this is how networks are built, networks are fostered, networks are sustained. If people are praying for you, they've given themselves to praying for you, you must also, have an altar where you're praying for them as well, ensuring to see that they're succeeding in what they're doing. If you can invest in other people's business, because some persons have invested maybe their time or their resources, their money in your business as well, you must get to that point where you're able and willing to invest back, whatever cause, it might not be like in the same measure or in the same direction, but you must be willing to also be able to give back, commensurately, the way you have received. I know that sometimes we all don't function at the same level. Right? You might have a network of people who are way richer and more wealthier than you, but then it's the little things that sometimes matter also. So when we say commensurate to what they've done for you, it's that the heart that you used in doing what you do, right, can be judged to be commensurate, right? Is the value of what you've decided to give out of, the genuineness of your heart that really matters, right? So in a network, is that honesty, that genuineness, that heart of oneness, unity, being true to that cause, or being true to that family or network of people that keeps things going, that keeps the fire burning, right? And so once again, let this consciousness be in you that your network is your net worth. Your network is your net worth. All right, I hope you've learned a thing or two again on this episode, and I'm sure looking forward to your feedback. Your feedback goes a long way, to helping us make what we do here better, right? So I'm looking forward to your feedback. You can always holler at me on x.com, THE_FOBB, or simply drop a voice comment on this episode. Until I come your way again on another episode, keep living the life of purpose, keep living the life of faith, and keep succeeding. Bye-bye.